dedicates 8 hours a day role-playing as a toddler.
I'm in baby mode on and off all day.
And Jess's daddy is caring for her.
I'm 20, but not really, because I'm 5.
Adopted mommy and daddy who are totally comfortable with me being a little girl.
I identify as an 8-year-old girl called Denise. Therefore, I am an 8-year-old girl.
There you go, folks. Here on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge, for the purpose of diversity and inclusivity, right, and being PC, Cal, we like to go around. What age are you today?
What age?
Yes. Are you 3 years old?
Hell no.
Okay. I didn't know. Jay, are you rocking any, are you possibly maybe like an 8-year-old girl today, or?
I'm always 19.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
hey.
yeah. I stopped growing at 19.
If I ever pulled that off on my parents, they would have me outside on the street.
Right? Yeah, I was gonna say, some of them kids need their ass kicked.
Seriously? Your daughter's walking around with a pacifier in her mouth. Is that normal?
I don't even know what the fuck I would even do with all that shit, man. I'm telling you right now. When that chick is like, what did she say? What did she say? It's so profound. She's like, I'm 20, but I'm really 5 or some shit like that. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
The way she said it, I'm like, what?
Right.
And the dude sitting next to her, it's like, bro, what are you thinking?
So like, casual about it.
Yeah, like what are you getting out of this? Like, I mean, I guess he must be probably like what the whatever the role would be or whatever that shit. I don't even know. I have no idea, folks. I don't want to know. I'm never gonna participate in that lifestyle in any way, shape, or form. But good for him. It's a free country, so whatever he is with her or whatever, good for him. But either way, folks, MCU'S Bleeding Edge, YouTube channel and podcast. Spreading, growing like a virus, right, across platforms. Jay doesn't even know yet. I haven't even told him. I'm going to surprise him eventually here down the road and tell him about like the massive expansion that we're about to experience here soon. Y'all in the audience barely even know about it. I'm keeping it very, very secret. We got some big shit going down. Some people have noticed us, which is always cool. And so let's just say that the MCU'S Bleeding Edge is going to need more content. And we're going to be available to a lot more faces and, eyes and whatnot and everything here pretty soon. If I don't fuck it up and become, go hang out with Tyrone Biggins too much, you know what I'm saying? And end up going to one of those fucking $500,000
the crack party,
totally free crack party type deals, whatever, whatnot. That can fuck me up to where who knows what's going to happen then, right? It could be, similar to like fucking, when, B2 what is it? What is his name? When the droid, the Cassian family droid, B2 EMO stunners when he talks. I love that shit. It's so funny.
Yeah.
He has such a great personality. Right?
Yeah.
And folks, just to be clear, as an indication as what we're doing here, of course, this is actually a redo of my shit show version that I tried to do with the Microtel Hotel in Ocala last weekend with Wi-Fi that was like from a cave, right? Like I think it's possible that honestly the Flintstones designed it, possibly the Wi-Fi shit or whatever at the hotel because it was garbage and like it was not even a show. I don't even know what you could even call it. But either way, it was embarrassing, but we're back. And we're basically here to have a very positive, very happy, something to celebrate, right? A really great Star Wars TV series. We're going to recap it and break it down over 4 parts. Try to get as many different Star Wars fans in here, that know more about the fandom and the lore than I do, like Cal and like Jay, right? So I'm sort of still, I'm not a rookie, but I'm getting into like the post-rookie period, in my Star Wars fandom bubble deal or whatever ranking. But at that point, we're basically just going to try to bust off like 3 episodes per show, right? And we're not going to re-review them, of course. We're just going to kind of go through them and whatnot and like see what everybody, what everyone liked out of them, what was pointed to them. Those of us that have seen it more than once, right? If got a second time, what they noticed, maybe they didn't see the first time, or something that maybe they saw, they didn't take something from it that they did now in the second look or whatever, right? Or even how we just feel looking back at it. Right? It's nice to have that time to breathe. Yeah. To digest this stuff, right? So it's been a minute. But basically, right, you couldn't have a better panel for the show. really, at the end of the day, because we got a first timer and Kelly, who's been, being very kind and supportive in the comment sections recently. She's a reactor on YouTube. And of course, Cal, I'll plug your stuff and whatnot and everything at the end of the show. And you can drop a link if you want in the private chat for me. But I can find your YouTube channel on my own. I'm subscribed to it. And she's a reactor. I found her myself through reaction videos because she likes Bandmade. And, I have an affinity for Bandmade. So, But she's very cool. I dug her vibe. So I thought maybe we'd try to bring her over here and put her on the panel. And she'll probably kick some ass. She likes Star Wars. Cal, welcome to the panel.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And please, folks, check out her reactions. What is your YouTube channel called?
It's Kelly's Reactions. It may be for a more intense search. It's Kelly's Reactions and stuff. If you want it word for word, but if you put in Kelly's Reactions, you should see it. You'll see my mug on the thing. So
I like that. It's very simple. Yeah,
I like to be simple. I don't like to be difficult.
Me too. I take out the stuff. Kelly's Reactions on its own is good. Now, Jay is a veteran of Star Wars. Like, who knows, man? He's been like being a Star Wars fan since before I was born, I think. No,
I saw the original A New Hope in theaters.
Oh shit. Well, yeah,
back in '76.
Oh yeah, so I wasn't
dating myself.
I wasn't
77. Excuse me.
I wasn't born then. I was not born then.
Yeah, I was only 2 years old.
Oh man, now I'm really feeling old. But I forgot. I'm 19.
There you go. Hey, you could be whatever you want, man. Right? I mean, what I'm saying? Like these days, you could be a tree you could be a tree person, right?
Absolutely.
If you could be a tree person and expect to be treated with respect and whatnot and everything and have rights, special rights and shit, then why can't you be 19?
There you go.
Right? I mean, seriously. I've actually pondered that before. What's up, Kendra? How you doing? How's work?
Hey, Kendra. Sorry, I'm not gonna be able to type back. I'm working off my phone, so I can't switch between the things.
Kendra does puts all her hours in between Friday and Sunday.
Oh, that's crazy.
So she probably feels like death right now. And I think they have a COVID outbreak at the facility that she works at and whatnot, right? In the healthcare industry. So,
oh wow,
Kendra, God bless you, hon. I hope if you want to give me a call later tonight and whatnot, feel free. If you're too tired, understand. Jay comes over from the from DJB Productions Network. A good friend of mine, Danny's, a creator that's been over here at the Bleeding Edge a bunch of times. He's special guest moderated shows, and then I guess he just he hid Jay from me, Jason from me for a long time. I couldn't have access to him, right? And then finally, I lucked out and found him. And then ever since then, right, here and there, I can lure him over, right? So, and plus he brings a lot of swag and a lot of professionality and maturity to the show with his his $2.7 million condo, right? You know what I'm saying? In Fort Lauderdale, over there in the everyone's in the either half in the closet or in the closet, deal. In the community over there. No, I'm just kidding. But no, bottom line, folks, Andor was awesome. I mean, we'll talk and we're going to flush out and probably do some parallelization and whatnot in terms of the fact that we've caught some other stuff between now and then. I just reviewed Secret Invasion. We talked about it just a minute ago in the studio. There are some parallels there. I won't be lying to you. But then again, honestly, that when I think about it, I think most people that are going to be coming on for these recap shows, I probably think most of them if they're like Jay, they watched one episode or two episodes, probably they'll probably finish it, but they just really didn't get into it or didn't have time. They're busy, whatever, Yeah. You know what? It's funny. I think one of the main parallels would be the fact that a lot of people's complaints of Secret Invasion right off the bat was too slow, right? Okay. Too slow of a start. Right? People were just the first episode, second episode, they were like, oh, I'm out.
Right.
Straight up. Which again, we didn't understand when we did the reviews because everyone on the squad was loving it. We were loving it. It was quality Marvel again, right? I mean, you can't the cast was awesome. It was Andor level. Samuel L. at his best, Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah.
When you put Samuel along actors like Ben Mendelsohn, right? Or actresses like Olivia Colman, he gets even better.
Yeah.
He does. You know, Pam Grier, right? He gets even better.
Yeah.
You know, at that point, like he was really good. If you like Nick Fury, shit, that's your show, man.
Right.
Seriously. But at the same time, though, Andor had that vibe. Now, Cal Jay may be more tuned in to the street and whatnot and everything, and like what goes on maybe in pop culture. I don't know yet. With pop culture, Jay, you just to some extent pay attention, don't you, to like what's going on to some extent with sort of what's trendy, right?
I try, but like it kind of interests me in some way, you know. Like I'll tell you right now, like there's these musicians that they say, hey, this is going to be an award show. Is here this person, that person, and I'm just going like, I have never heard of anybody from this list. So there's certain things that I just kind of like, I guess, partition myself from, you know. But for the most part, things that are happening in Hollywood and pop culture, yeah, I think I'm pretty much on top of it.
That's what I figured. I figured you have somewhat of a sense of a pulse, right? I mean, and plus also you're over there at the DJB with all your friends,
yeah,
right, of the team. I know people bullshit over there, right? You probably hear things, you know.
Yeah. And,
now,
and we're pretty much across the board. We've got horror podcasts. We've
yes,
got, you know, all kinds of pop culture, Marvel, Star Wars, you name it.
Sure. No, sure. And then Cal, you're really busy. I mean, do you have time? I mean, besides researching for shows like this or whatever, whatnot. Which next time I apologize. Next time I'll make sure that I let you know first what to even take the time to even really take the time to deep dive into. You don't have to go crazy, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like I was saying earlier about Rogue One. I'd love to talk about Rogue One more. That's Jason. That's something I was going to mention to you in the studio and I forgot, which is that, folks, honestly, I'm in a position where I don't feel vulnerable, but I love Star Wars. I'm loving it. I really am. I loved reviewing Andor. It really impacted my life in a way, right? Yeah. At a time for me when like things were a little rough, right? Looking back now with more clarity, covering Andor and covering The Last of Us and shit like that and whatnot, right? Covering the House of the Dragon. It wasn't. It wasn't because of Marvel, right? Jay wasn't, you know, Cal wasn't because of Phase 4. It wasn't She-Hulk. It was the shows. It was those shows individually, their shit, what they did for me, right? And plus me going out of my box, kind of like you, right? You know, and going out and doing. I'd never moderated a show like the House of the Dragon before. I wasn't intimidated, but I didn't know what to do. Right? I didn't know how big of a guest panel I should have for the shows. I didn't know how long the reviews would be. Right? I didn't know how the outlines should be, like how elaborate I should be, what questions I should ask. Like, there's so much shit going on, right? You know, hey, God, if I could go back in time and I could review Game of Thrones, I'm telling you, I'd have Shazam, the genie ever pop up real quick and whatnot and send me back. Right? You know, I would just bail on the last season though. Right. But, that's just word of mouth. I didn't watch it, but no, Cal, do you have time to consume YouTube? I mean, do you go on YouTube and fuck around and just watch shit?
Occasionally, usually, some nights and stuff like that. Cause like I said, I work full time during the week and I stare at a computer all day long. So usually sometimes at night after I put a content in, I'll kind of poke around a few things here and there and stuff. But if like I was given a task or something, or just to look at something, you know, give me a week's notice and I'll fit it in and get it all prepared and ready and stuff. So, but we've gone over my schedule there on our own time there. But
now, Cal, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I've watched a lot of these shows you're discussing, especially anything related to Star Wars, because we sit together pretty much like Jay down here. He says he has a night where he watches movies with his family, so we watch like these shows when they come out. Like we watched Andor all together. We watched all together. You know, because we all like the similar stuff.
That's awesome.
So, but it's like I was telling Jay when you went off for your little 5-minute break there. That you guys probably look more into the details and in depth of things, like try to pinpoint something, where more of I'm like a casual watcher. I still find things like like when I was reviewing these again, there were some things I didn't see the first time we watched together, watched with my family and everything. There were some things I was like, oh, I didn't see that before, or, things just poked out, but I'm more of like, I guess, casual watcher. I like the storyline. I can follow the storyline, but it's when it gets to the more in-depth stuff, I don't have the time to really get into the depth stuff and like look into things and read about things and stuff like that. So I just kind of keep it simple.
No, that's basic human nature for the most part, hon. Unless you're really astute and like you're really able to like slow down at that point in those episodes, right? When you have that really deep shit that go down. I think a lot of people, mostly for the most part, kind of like they can't always get all of it in.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of natural, just like with films, right? I mean, you go back and watch them a second time, you're like, wow, how did I not see that? Right? Or I don't even remember that person saying that, right? I mean,
I have a problem with remembering people's names sometimes. I'm like, oh, the dude with this crazy hairdo. Do you know who I'm talking about?
So now let me ask you a question. Before Andor, right? Were you following what was going on with the Disney Star Wars stuff?
So it took me a second to pinpoint the order of everything. Because when, like he said, he saw the movie when he was 2 years old. I didn't really start watching Star Wars until probably the 80s. I mean, obviously it was out there before then, but I didn't really watch it until like the 80s and stuff. And I've continued to watch the original 3 and then the prequels and then the last 3. And then when Rogue One came out and Andor and all these little side cartoon versions, I didn't know where half them stuck in and stuck out of it. It was like, so after listening to my son one day, I kind of finally figured out that Andor and this Rogue One, there were, I think before New Hope, is it, or was it after?
Yeah, before New Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So certain details like that, it's like,
if I can find it, I have a whole. I've been working on this research. This notebook is like half full. Crazily, not somewhere in there. I've got the whole timeline and all laid out. What everything, the Mandalorian stuff, Ahsoka, right? Like all the films, right? All lined up all around Andor, and how they reflect off each other, right?
Yeah.
I had
to send a link. That'd be good, so I have an idea of what the order was.
Oh, well, you know what? That's the great thing about Star Wars and whatnot and everything. And I can't even mention all the names of the different creators and whatnot, right, Jay? That out there that do a great job, right? Like breaking this stuff down.
Yeah.
Where folks like me can go on, right? And like when we don't understand concepts, like for instance, I had what got me to the point where I even went in that direction was simply the whole aspect of in the first episode of Andor, right? To go ahead and talk about Andor. In the first episode, right? When we see Cassian and he's on what's it called? Okay, my bad. Oh no, when
Milana?
When he's on Milana 1, right?
Yeah.
Basically, they then play I like that they did bring in and use the not heavily, but they did go ahead and they let us know most of the time when we were going to different planets, right, different places and whatnot, right. I like the fact that they did tell us what year it was, and so when it got to the point where at one point it showed a pre-ops, Morlana, corporate zone, BBY5, right?
Yeah.
Now, Cal, what does BBY stand for?
It's before the Battle of Yavin, I believe.
Yes. Now, at that point, that's what then caused me, or like motivated me, to then just stop what I was doing and go look and see. Luckily, Star Wars Theory had a nice video for me. Hats off to you, Star Wars Theory. Although I don't agree with your take on Andor, you didn't like it. Well, I don't agree with you. You and your little buddy over there, Den of Geek, that little bitch or whatever and whatnot. I don't really care what he says about anything, to be honest with you, for the most part. But he's like your little butt buddy, to be honest with you. Anyways, bottom line, if anybody doesn't like Andor, if you're a Star Wars fan and you hate Andor, I don't get you. I'm sorry if I don't get it. What's not cool about like a trope that you love, a genre you love that changes something in a good way? It makes things interesting, and it's short-lived. It's not like they're gonna like make it the whole theme now, right?
Right.
It's a one-off, right? It's not even just gonna be like a big overarching thing or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's even gonna influence anything all that much, to be honest with you, with Star Wars and Disney. Do you, Jay?
No.
No. It's just gonna be an event. That's it. Something that happened, and then it's gonna be gone.
Yeah.
Right? Dust.
Yep.
You know? Honestly, Rogue One will outlast and have more impact down the road forever overall than Andor ever will.
Yeah.
Films just do that. But either way, though, because of that, I had to figure out. But through that research on the BBY5, that's when I was able to figure out the timeline, right? And so, basically, Kel, when we started off with that opening, right, where we got that Blade Runner-esque, first episode. That very fast paced at first. People said it was a slow burn, which I thought it was at times, right? A slow burn. But at the same time, though, rewatching it, the pace wasn't really that slow.
Right.
Right. I mean, it wasn't like bam, bam, bam. Like, or the scenes like the Mandalorian sometimes, Jake, and the Mandalorian scenes can just like flow. Yeah. Like Mando and Grogu are just bam, bam. They're in the ship. They're going to this planet, that planet. Like they're just constantly moving, doing shit. Like they're active. Andor was like not slow or boring. It's just that when the scenes would change and they would shift and they would slide into new ones, it wasn't always climatic or like something big, right? You know what I mean, or whatnot, or like some grand shit. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Get it, Cal? It was more like you'd get like a really good scene with like some new secondary characters talking to Cassian. Then you would go into a scene where you'd be at like Primor headquarters, right? And you'd be listening to two of the Imperial officers talking to each other, or whatever, right? It was interesting if you like that kind of stuff. If you like characters, conversation, exposition, right?
Well, that's the thing. It was all story driven as opposed to like action driven.
Sure.
I think maybe some people got turned off by that, but
yes,
I just think
I thought it was like a 50-50 thing.
I wouldn't say so. I mean, honestly, really, there's very little action in the whole film. They're very selective.
Speaking of the pace of it again, like the first one where you see him walking down under the lights and everything.
Yes.
Going to that club there to check on his sister and everything. That was kind of a gradual thing to me, at least, and then it picked up when the guards started to follow him out. He lured them out and stuff like that. That kind of picked up the pace of everything. But yeah, I kind of agree with the more of a storyline action thing. I would say more storyline, probably 70. It's hard to really put a percentage on it, but I kind of agree with you guys. So,
well, no, basically, they go right into it. Right, there's no fucking around. There's no need for an origin story, really. I don't think at all. Right, and I'm loving it more and more that more of the films we're seeing, especially in the Marvel fandom and that genre, for instance, they're really trying to. If they are doing origin stories, they're doing them light, right? Like very light, right? And I like that. We don't need whole movies to understand who Daredevil is, right? Or the Punisher or some shit. It's not necessary. You know what I'm saying? It really isn't. And I think it's more effective when you don't take all that time and you just throw them in the mix, right? Like let him go, let him go, let him free. So no, look, basically, right now, and this is my first question for you guys. They're in the underbelly of how throughout the whole timeline of the Star Wars that I know of. Every planet, for the most part, you go on always has that lower sort of tier, right? As you descend down,
areas.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
No, which is actually literally it is like a lower point in difference in height. It's like the underbelly.
Oh yeah.
Right, because everything is built up on these on the planets, right?
Yeah.
What you're looking at down there in the bottom, they're lower platforms almost. They even say that. In Clone Wars, in some of the cities on Coruscant, that's how the Jedi Council refers to like the underbelly like areas.
Yeah.
Right. I heard Yoda say it one time. So either way, though, he's down there. very, very heavy, like sort of sci-fi Blade Runner vibes.
Yeah.
Hardcore from jump. I got that several times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah, definitely a desire to go in that direction to add the espionage type angle, right? You know what I'm saying? But do it in like more of a futuristic way, I thought. Does that make sense, Cal?
Yeah.
Right? If you were going to pick something, why wouldn't it be Blade Runner? Right? You know, for this show, I thought it was perfect. I loved it. And I think that basically, essentially, I think we all know what happens, right? It's not complicated. It's very simple. The question is based off this. The whole thing happened so quickly. Cassian's like on a mission. He walks right into this bar, and I didn't see this the first time we watched it, but the guard that frisks him from Premor, right? That does the security through the Empire at this planet. They run it. He warned him that the upper deck, the upper level of the club was off limits, right? It was only, he didn't say it, but the whole point was of those guards, that part of the bar was supposed to be only for them.
Right.
Cassian wasn't supposed to be there, right? Like that's a hangout spot for the Premor, employees. Cassian didn't drag them out, right? Like he knew no matter where he went when he left, they were going to come, right? Like he's very street smart, right? And plus he fucking like shot some straight up, tossed some shit to him too, and and stared him down and shit when they fuck with him and whatnot, which was not smart, right? Like he probably wouldn't have had to kill him, that guy, if he hadn't done that and whatnot, if he would have been a little bitch, right? But either way, the guards fuck with him. It is the Empire, of course. That was one of the tropes in the film that did actually like kind of stick to like the original usual Star Wars genre game plan. The trope, right? In a way, right, Jay?
Sure.
Cal?
Yeah.
That was our one little spot where we kind of got like our usual typical, unethical, immoral, right? Imperialistic, you know what I'm saying? Like, type, like, condescending type fucking Empire type fuckers, right? Except they weren't stormtroopers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because this is way before all that. But either way, though, it was so similar in a way. That's probably, you tell me, Jay, Cal, can you think of anything else in the film that really, other than like what we know they're doing later on in the prison, right? What that's going to lead to? What is there anything else that happens in the show really that heavily that really like links easily into that stereotype, that typical kind of almost quasi kind of boring good versus evil? The Empire's dumb as shit. They're just like drones. They must be droids, right?
Well, I got the vibe that they were in Andor. It made them, the bad guys, actually look smarter than they made them look in the movies and things like that. But one of the things that I'm kind of on the ropes about, as far as the Empire is concerned, it seemed like they took a lot of time during Andor to show you how bad and how reckless the Empire was. Torturing people, doing that mind, whatever that thing is that they showed in The Mandalorian. It's just they seem to be focusing a lot on how bad and how evil the Empire is. And I don't think that the reason I do like it a little bit is the fact that I don't think they showed that enough in the movies. I thought
you mean the grittiness of it, the real maliciousness, the real life.
Right. Just like if you put an Andor in the theater, they probably could have like made it an R-rated feature and like really got into how bad and vicious the Empire was.
I get where you're going with that, but I don't know, Kel, would you agree with me? I don't think they would have tried to force an R on that. There really isn't any profanity. There's no nudity, right?
No, I'm just saying if they could expand on it in like a theatrical version. In the original script, that speech at the end where the Andor's adoptive mother was doing the hologram.
Let's make sure we're on the same page here. All right, Cyber always fucks me up with this. Here's the thing with Cyber that trips me out. Like I want to trust him sometimes on names, But like at the same time, though, I'm conflicted because like he kept wanting to call her Maeve. I thought her name would pronounce Marva.
It's an extended A, like it's almost like you don't hear completely the R in it, but it's supposed to be like a Mava. Mava.
Okay.
But depending on who the actor is, I noticed a couple of them said it's slightly off from each other. So I guess it's however you perceive it for yourself, I guess.
Well, Cassian doesn't call her by name in the first 2 episodes at all. I never hear him say it. He
didn't say her name that often. Yeah.
No one did. I don't think, except for the droid. I think at one point he did.
Yeah, I noticed too, like you were talking, said about a few sentences ago about like some of the scenes. Like I just noticed some of the scenes when it came to like the Empire or the ISB people, they just were sloppy and kind of hurrying the scenes when they, especially some of the scenes with they were torturing.
Hold off. We're going there. That's where we're going. We're going there. No, but based off the intro, I just wanted to ask you guys with this. Now, Jay, that scene right now when they do shake Andor down, right? Yeah. And you can see, you can viscerally see his disposition towards them in the bar, his facial expression towards them, pure contempt, right? Pure contempt. You know what I'm saying? Like, test me, right? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care what you say to me. You know what I mean? And I think that has to do with the planet itself, sort of in a way too, which you know what I mean. The fact that they all have sort of a different, some are looser than others, right? You know what I mean? Right? Think Ferrex. So, either way though, he also though, we find out, we know later, and we know from Rogue One, that Cassian knows all about the Empire. He knows how soft they are. He knows how soft these guards are, right? Like he knows that he can take them out. Now, that action scene is so quick, right? When he tells them, "I've got 300 credits. I just want to leave and walk away." Yeah, it happens in less than a minute. The whole thing, where he actually takes them out physically, gets the gun, accidentally kills the one guard. And then the other one's begging for his life and making up the story for him of how they're going to make it go away, kills him knowing he has to, right? Yeah. Connecting to Rogue One, of course, right? You know what I'm saying? There you go, folks. There's going to be a lot of parallels of that going on here. And hey, Cal, Jay, feel free to draw them out on your own if you want to, whenever you want. Yeah. Right? I like it. I do. I think it's fun. That's one thing, Jay, that I didn't realize at first. I had to include Rogue One in this. I didn't think about that at first. Yeah. But it has to be incorporated. There's no way around it. And I love it. It's cool. It's fun. But either way, though, and then he just runs. He's running at that point, right? Now, my question was this. That all that takes, that when he shoots that second guard, that's at the 9 and 16 second mark of the episode, the first episode. Okay? Okay. So literally, that whole thing, the whatever that whole sort of like fast-paced deal where kind of uselessly him going to the bar asking for his sister's obviously dead or like a slave or something. Who knows, right? He's not going to find her, right? I got the gist that like that wasn't going to happen. But it was a premise to get him in, right? But either way, that's how quick it went. I didn't remember that, but that's how quick that whole thing was. Right. And so at that point, what do you think, Cal? I'll go to you first. Basically, right? Now looking back, not then, reviewing this stuff, I had no clue that would end up being tied into some intrinsic theme or anything like that, whatnot. How do you know that? Right? You know what I mean? You don't know.
I didn't. I still didn't.
Well, you tell me. Right? Do you feel like, in terms of that sort of, if you want to call it intro, in terms of how things evolve from there at that point, how everything just blooms, right? And everything sort of jumps off that. That's the jumping point. Okay. So basically, right? So, do you feel like, I guess as a plot device, maybe, or sort of as a, maybe a a sort of like a hint or a parallel of what we're going to end up with as sort of a baseline theme that will quasi play out throughout the series, or maybe just, you know, towards the end, I guess, maybe? Do you feel like, Cal, like, then at all, or looking back now, you know, maybe towards the end when you were done with the series, or looking back now when we're talking about it, do you feel like they pulled that off well? Do you feel like, you know, if you're somebody that saw Andor, then you go back and think about it or watch it again, you see yourself, like you see yourself and say to yourself, okay, you know what? I see things in this, small things where this is going to be important and play into several different small aspects of the rest of the series over time, right? Did you feel like it had that sort of emblematic, sort of profound, like ignition type of like deal going on, or was it just kind of part of the course? Was it not really all that heavily tied to the overall series? I mean, was it just, or was it just an injection? Was it just to service the story? Like, what do you think?
Well, I honestly think it was kind of like, you know how like you watch most like series or shows, it kind of takes a while to progress to the big thing that's going to happen, and then how they're going to figure out how it happens at the end or who did it. To me, this started off with like a bang. It was just like he goes in, does his thing, and then they chase him out, and the their second guy there.
It's kind of like my sex life. It's a big bang real quick, and then it's over.
And it's like it just happened real quick, and then they could fit more of a storyline into like what happened and all this, and then trail off into the end is how I perceived it. Because if I watched it the first time and I didn't go back and check it the second time, my first impression of it would be it's one of those things that just happened right off. That way they have the rest of the episodes to kind of build more of a story and why or when or how, and then figure it out somewhat towards, not completely towards the end, but you know. But when I was watching that scene particularly, I don't know if you would agree with me or not, but I kind of got the impression, because you know how he asked the second guard right there, what do I do? It's like he's never probably done something like this, and he's always been told in his life what to do. He's never acted on his own until you see it later on in the rest of the episode and moving forward. That's how I perceived it and took it, because there was a part where someone...
Jay, he was frustrated, right? Wasn't he? He was frustrated. He's just pissed.
Yeah.
He's tired of it. He's tired of the bullshit with them.
Yeah. So I think I think as episodes went on, he grew from that, but he was still trying to fight his own, like, I just did this, oh my gosh, I gotta run off and try to figure things out and stuff. And they didn't think he probably didn't think at first he would be identified. But
no. Well, no, and you're going far. You're again, don't go that far. But Jay, let me rephrase that a little bit now. Basically, would you say that like the reason he said that and he reacted that way and whatnot and everything is because they were trying to impress upon us the sense that, just like in the bar, he's tired of it, right? He's sick of it,
yeah.
Right. Think about his life. He's a black market thief, arms dealer, smuggler, you know what I'm saying, whatnot, right? Like pet, he's a grimy dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, seriously. Which, you know what? At this point where they're at in the future and whatnot and everything, I don't care, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, he doesn't seem like he's out there looking to kill people all the time, right? But at the same time, though, it's like he said to Maeve or Marva, he made a mistake. He did. He fucked up, right? He got impulsive. He did. Right. And we don't know, why he was pissed off. Or what? Maybe his sister. I don't know. Will you tell me? I thought him saying that was simply out of straight frustration of like, look what you forced me to do this.
Yeah,
right?
And that's what I took from it. It's like, well, you made me do this, so
yes,
you make it right. Because I tried to walk away, and you guys came to me. So, but I think in that exchange, he realized he knew what he had to do.
As in,
And,
like, no, it was he was almost like he was almost being condescending.
Yeah, I could see that. But
His system is soft anyway.
yeah, but Kelly had a good take that maybe he had never pulled the trigger before. Maybe he never did that. I always took it as like in the Star Wars universe, like, you know, that's just something you do. You know, you shoot somebody with a laser pistol. You know,
I want to believe Cassian Andor has put bodies down before.
Yeah.
Until that scene, he has.
Right.
Yeah. Seriously, he's probably he's probably killed somebody before or whatnot back when he was on freaking Kenobi or whatever. Kenobi,
Yeah.
Right?
He was pretty little, but yeah, you know what? Yeah, probably. It might just like be in him, you know, like part of his DNA. You know,
he's really good with a gun.
Yeah,
really good with a blaster. I mean, at that point, you gotta figure he must have used one a couple times.
Yeah,
right. He was not shy to shoot that bitch.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, you know,
he took out a couple of those people with the spears, right? With when
that was all of them.
Yeah, but I'm sure that, like, you know, that's how he was raised. That's something
I think he was involved. Yes, he did involve. He did get involved in that little melee, that skirmish with those. What I believe they were, and of course, this actually ends up being we get our first flashback to Kanari off this, right? Off him running, where we see them, and of course, I have all of it laid out. What went on there at that planet to some extent. Nobody really knows for sure. But kind of the gist of it, you know, what went down is the fact that I guess that was like those were either subcontractors for the Empire, right? That were aligned with the Empire, or they were straight Empire folks, right? Right. That were coming down there. Their ship went down, right? There was some kind of catastrophe, right? At the mining facility or whatever, whatnot. That's what killed all their parents. That's why when you see them, it looks like a lot of them are wearing the tattered clothing from their mom and dad. Right, they're all overgrown, or they look like they've been like tapered or like cut up to fit or whatever, whatnot. Their shoes even are too big on some of them. I think literally, like utterly, their parents all died. I've heard this from multiple different people on YouTube, and that those are the clothes were up their bodies.
Wow.
Yeah, because there was a mining explosion there or whatever, whatnot, and it killed everybody except the children.
Yeah.
You know. And basically, the Empire was strip mining that planet. They were flat out. They were just strip mining that bitch.
Right.
You know, so I can't even really remember why that skirmish even happened. I mean, was it? I believe it was actually the folks in the ship that started shooting first, weren't they?
Yes. Yeah, because they just went to check out this crash landing.
Yes.
And then, of course, they had the guard up and they were ready. So maybe that was the automatic response from the people who crashed on the ship.
They saw a dead body, I think, didn't they?
Yes. Yeah.
And they linked it to the kids.
Yeah.
Well, either way, they didn't make out. They didn't make out too well with the kids. So, right, you know, I wonder if they ate them after that or whatever. Who knows? But either way, though, I won't lie to you. When they first started doing those flashbacks or the reviews, you can go back and watch. I was like, when I would be asked about it, I was like, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the fuck is going on with this shit. Like, what language is this? How is this important?
Right.
How does this correlate to anything? Like, what the hell is even going on here? Is this like some kind of Peter Pan on crack type deal or whatever, whatnot? Like, in Star Wars, right? Like, what is like? I mean, I don't understand. Are these like future Jedi?
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. But no, but they do become important, and that's why I wanted to ask you, Jay, and reframe my question. And I can bounce this off you too, Kelly. Is it possible that this is the kind of series? Maybe I didn't think about this until now, where it was designed for you to watch it a second and third time, right? For you to get all the way through that first time, right? To grasp all the intrinsic aspects and whatnot, and the plot lines and whatnot, and the certain scenes that connect to certain aspects of other episodes later on.
Yeah.
You really don't, again, just like that trope, you don't notice stuff the first time. You notice more the second time, the third time. Do you feel like, Jay, maybe that like you really have to watch this stuff more than once to be able to really grasp these sort of like intrinsic things in the story.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I had totally forgotten about the sister until I rewatched it. You know, by the end of the season, the first watch, by the end of the season, forgotten all about the sister. Now I'm wondering if they're going to go and find her in the second season, or whether he's going to find out that she's dead, and then that's going to be like, I've got nothing left. I don't care about my life anymore. I've got nothing left. And maybe that's how they show you the creation of this character that you see in Rogue One.
Well,
because
actually, you know what?
His mom's gone now.
Hey,
Mom's gone now, and maybe he finds
right.
out his sister's gone.
Bleeding Edge Investigations has found her.
Holy shit! Let's just making McNuggets in my hand. I don't want to hear it.
It's 10:30 a.m. We don't serve chicken McNuggets at this time.
Yes, you do.
No, we don't.
Why not?
Because we do.
You know what? Did you just hiss at me? Oh, the world just fucking hiss at you.
Hey, just give me that out of the car. What's going on over there?
Don't you fucking run away from me, you family.
God, oh shit.
Oh, no. Don't make me assume my ultimate form. I will fuck you up. Wait, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna wreck you. Get the fuck out of here. What? I'm gonna try to screw you. Look at the mess.
Ma'am, whoa. Stop, ma'am.
What?
Close that shit. Ma'am, God damn. Oh my God.
Hey,
Oh, geez, give us the chicken nuggets.
don't make her assume her ultimate form, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, seriously, good for her, bro. It never occurred to me in my life that any human being would ever actually utter that to someone else, right? Like in real life, and actually like use that as an intimidation thing or whatever, whatnot. Like it never occurred to me to do that.
Right.
Like it won't take me seriously. So I would love to like pick her mind and brain and understand how she sees things, like her lens.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, does she feel like she actually becomes Super Saiyan? Right?
I don't know. I can't relate to those people, man. I don't know.
You know what? She needs the chicken nuggets first.
Yeah.
Right?
I would have tossed her chicken nuggets frozen. Take them to go and cook them at home. Just get away from my window.
I'm telling you, she probably walked away scot-free for that. They didn't even get her for that shit either. They're too afraid. But there you go, folks. That right there, there's Cassian's sister. She's in the Star Wars universe on a planet where there's a chicken nugget manufacturing issue. Right? The production is off, and because of COVID, the pandemic and shit affected it, and there you go. So it's a chicken nugget based economy. Just kidding. I don't even know. Anyways, but no. So the sister thing, honestly, Jay, I don't even see her. I don't see her even being mentioned again.
Oh, okay.
I don't. But I could be wrong. In season 2, I think they're gonna have a lot. I think they're gonna have a lot going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Seriously, a lot going on. There'll be more action, I think, in that one in season 2.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that, eventually. But either way, though. Jay, you tell me, do you feel like, from there at that point in episode 1, it's very simple. Cassian's on the run. And and maybe this is where people started to get bored or whatever, right? Or where things got less, I don't know, exciting, or they weren't fast enough, paced or whatever, whatnot. It got too slow, too exposition-y. But, basically at that point, that's when they really do kind of like try to go into gear and whatnot and try to give us throughout the next, sort of the end of it, the rest of, episode 1, all of episode 2, right? And then in pieces in episode 3, when things actually start to break down and start to really get deeper.
Yeah.
Heading into that next quarter, right? Mm-hmm. Now, at that point, we get Cassian, right, heading to Ferrix, right, where he does live, right, and whatnot, as a, I guess occasional part-time, he fixes up ships or whatever, whatnot, right, like, but I think it's kind of like a front in a way for his black market shit and whatnot and everything, right, and so at that point, right, we get introduced in a very, I thought, a really good way to what our secondary characters are going to be, at least on Ferrix. You know, and there's not many of them, but many of them are important. And they do a good job of balancing them out, I thought. Right? So, you know, he goes to Ferrix. We get him, you know, we meet Brasso. That conversation's awesome, right? When Brasso falls right in line with his lies, which just shows you that how many times Cassian's come up to him like that before to cover for him or whatever and whatnot, right? And you know, we see B2EMO, the awesomest droid ever, you know, other than C3PO. We see, you know, Marv, Maeve, whatever. We see Bix Colleen, who I love Bix, really do. We see her asshole boyfriend Tim, the fucking jealous asshole that rats out Cassian.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and there's another character that we see too that I can't remember his name. That also works with Cassian and with Bix and also with Brasso. That the guy that's pissed off at them, it basically just tells him to like fix the ship or whatever and get the hell out of there. Or whatever, you know. I just can't remember his name. But they give us these secondary characters right here on Ferrix. We find out right then that you know, we get introduced and get to like experience how cool you know, the droid is and whatnot, and Cassian's relationship with him. But we also find out about, you know, essentially the fact that Cassian needs Vix. She middlemans his gear, his smuggled goods, his stolen shit, and has a buyer set up for I believe it was a Starpath, unit, right? Which I can't remember I can't articulate it. What does that thing do exactly again?
Which thing was it?
That thing he stole from the Empire, the Starpath unit.
Oh, you know what? I honestly don't know.
I gotta look it up.
Was it some type of controller that would control something that was some type of weapon? I thought maybe I
think it has something to do with the ability to be able to travel through
something has to do with travel,
space without restriction, like, you know what I'm saying, whatnot, right? And like know how to like be evaded, not get caught, right?
Right. Okay.
Something like that. But let me see. I could be wrong. The magic of the internet. Or Starpath. Okay, here we go. The Imperial S9 Starpath unit, which is a tangible thing in Star Wars lore, it's been talked about before, mentioned before, was an expensive and untraceable box-shaped piece of Imperial technology that used proprietary Imperial signals and frequencies to coordinate and map the relation of a starship to every Imperial asset, whether it was an installation or a vessel, for 9 radial parsecs. Does that make any sense?
Not at all. No, I'm just as confused as when you started.
No. Hold on.
I vaguely remember in one of the other, I don't know what other episode of Star Wars, but it was a box that they found out where, I think it was probably one of the newer episodes of Star Wars with Princess Leia and all them. They knew as soon as they knew where they were, as soon as they were out of hyperspeed or something. Is that what you're saying? Something to identify? Is that what you're trying to say, Jeff?
Given that Starpath unit is not explored in much detail in the show, save for the contest at which it's referred to, thank you to Collider.com. That is Cass's efforts to make some quick credits off of it. Let's see. Okay, he grabbed it. He grabbed the S9 Starpath unit from the naval base when he infiltrated the Empire. And let's see. It looks like it's for layman's terms. Okay, the NS9 Starback unit is one of the many untraceable box-shaped pieces of Imperial technology capable of tracking all the Imperial coordinates of 9 radial parsecs. Let's see. Moreover, the device that Cassian gets his hands on boasts vector crystals and has the Imperial seal still intact. Basically, I think it's for. I think it allows. If I remember understanding correctly, it allows you to travel and have codes and whatnot and everything, right? And be able to have freedom of travel in space, right? And know where there's going to be Imperial assets, right? And whatnot and everything in certain vectors, so that you can avoid trouble, right?
Gotcha.
So if you're like a rebel, right? Or if you're trying to do dirty shit for a smuggler, this would be something you want. Right. It'd be valuable, right?
Kind of like when Han Solo them were going into the planet and they had to give that code, and then once they gave the code, it was an old ship and they were able to come through. So is it kind of like that?
Similar, yes. Yeah. It's not a communication device at all. It is a star path, right? The title itself kind of, in a way, if you think about it, it kind of gives away what it does. It's a way for you to have an open path to be able to go out and because think about it, the Empire controls, right? Their controlled space, right? This not the stuff. What do you call the stuff outside of that? What is
the unknown region?
Not the unknown region. The parts of space, right? That like you hear some of the Jedi warn people about whatnot not to go to and whatnot. Not where Thrawn's at. The regions of space and whatnot, everything that aren't under Imperial control, that are sort of like Wild Wild West, right? Like,
right.
I'll have to look it up.
There's a term called wild space, which might lend into that.
There's a term for. I've heard them talk about it in some either on Clone Wars or whatnot. That there are dangerous areas outside of what's like sort of the mapped or the controlled, right? Like vectors of space, right?
Yeah.
When you go outside of them, remember it's Star Wars. You got some alien races out there that are no joke, right? So like, and then there's got pirates too, and all that kind of shit, right? Mm-hmm. But no, so basically, I mean, I can see why it would be that valuable. But either way, though, Vix is a former girlfriend of Andor's. She's gonna fence this, device and sell it to Luthen Rael, Stellan Skarsgård character, who we don't know yet until episode 3. Purposely is trying to recruit Andor, which I'm assuming in season 2 they're going to explain why. In some way, they're finally going to tell us what connection he had with Marva or whatever, or Maeve back in the day. They must have known each other, right?
Yeah.
That he would know about Cassian and about what he did, right? We had that whole scene, right? In I believe it was in, let's see, episode. It was either episode. I think it was episode 2. Where we do see, I think it's episode 2 where we really actually have our first scene with Cassian and Marva talking and bickering, right?
Yeah.
And she has the droid read out and stutter the warrant because of Serial, right? Yeah. Tracking them down through his ship, right? And figuring out that he's on, and not only that he was from, what's it called? The Canary. Yeah. That's really pissed her off. She's like,
yeah, well, he outed himself on that one.
Yes. He's like, who the hell did you tell that you're from Canary? How does he know?
Yeah.
No, he did out himself. He did, right? Through Tim. But essentially, for episode 1, what I thought was cool that I wanted to bring up and ask you about, Cal, was our first glimpse of Cyril Carnes, right? And his conversation with his superior, where we get the first real, take on the fact that we're going to get a different type of empire here, like different type of employees, different type of members of the empire and whatnot, right? Workers, whatever, parts of the team, whatever. because like from jump, I mean, Cyril's like this dedicated, sort of naive, ambitious, right? Like sort of, trying to move up kind of guy, right? At Premor. And his supervisor is like, you know what? Look, that one dude should have been dead already, right? He was probably the fucking biggest asshole I've ever met in my life. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I'm glad he's dead or whatever and whatnot, right? And basically, hey, I'm going to some big imperial shindig where I'm going to be showing off our crime stats, right? And I'm going to be greasing them books up. I can't be having this shit. You need to make this go away. And again, you tell me, Cal. For me, again, I'm not a massive Star Wars fan, so maybe that didn't impress on me or like really, really throw me off at first or really get to me in terms of the contradiction of what you typically would get from these type of characters, right? But over time throughout the series, I quickly grasped how different it was. I understood from other people talking, right, and whatnot. I got it, right? Like the difference, right? And then it became more stark, right? The things that we're doing, the laziness, the sort of like, sense of arrogance and whatnot and everything, to the level where like not even laziness, but not even a desire to do shit, right? Because they've got so much control and power. Like, why bother? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather like play video games, No, but Cal, was it too early? In the series, whatnot, and everything, for you to have stuff like that, like have an impression on you?
No, I think it was around the right place for it. I mean, Cyril there, I don't know, he's a tool. But his ambition was like the hardcore Emperor people. He was persistent. He really wanted to bust this person, bust Cass and this and that. And the guy wrote it off like you said, being lazy. Like, oh, I don't need this crap right now. But Cyril, he just wasn't really thinking. He thought he was thinking what he wanted to do, and he wanted to get a jump on his career and get up there by busting Cass and this and that. But I feel like he went around it like too gung-ho. He didn't think everything through. He looked like he wasn't confident in himself either. He kind of looked when he gave the speech, I was like, what the heck, dude? You didn't really want this gig, man.
Right.
Put some balls in it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like a weekly and wannabe type of thing. And it came at the right spot, but he just did not impress me much as a wannabe villain type of thing, No.
He wasn't supposed to be the villain, I don't think, or whatever, whatnot. But that's the thing. That's in episode 3.
He's one of them because he's just a dirtbag, but he's just strange. There's something about them that really irks me too.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to go beyond what I'm talking about as far as an episode or whatever, whatnot. Sometimes when I moderate and whatnot to contrast cyber, I'll do things wide open and whatnot, and I'll tell people on the panel they can talk about, they can bring up whatever, the ending, the beginning, anything. They can say whatever they want to my questions or whatever, right? But if we're following this right now and whatnot and everything, and I'm just trying to basically set up a premise, sort of like a first impression type deal, right? Of what we're working with here with these nuances, okay?
Well, that's my impression.
No, my point is that I'm going to go in a minute. I'm going to go to that speech, right? You know what I'm saying? So give me a minute, right? And I'll give you the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? But you're right. He is dedicated, right? Like, he means well. I think his head's on straight. He obviously seems dedicated to his work, right? Which maybe doesn't fit into the Empire right now at that point. I don't know. But he's dedicated, right? And persevere. He's very, persistent. And he's actually moved, I think, a little bit. And I don't think he's faking it just for the company line. He's not happy. He's pissed off and wants justice because 2 of his fellow employees were killed. I think he even knew one of them somewhat closely. So you tell me, Jay, what was your take on getting our first, and then, and Cal, you can jump in too when he's done if you want. When they move on, right? and Cyril continues on and goes above his chain of command by investigating on his own, right? Again, that just shows you how lax things are with the Empire at this point. In the stuff we've seen in the past, you could never do. You would. I don't think anybody that worked there. I don't care if you are a subcontractor. I don't think you'd make a move like that, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think you take orders and you do what you're told. You know what I'm saying? To some extent, right? Maybe not perfectly, but you get what I'm going with this, right, Jay? That type of ambition like that. Oh, wow. That was quick. Anyways, but Cal, you get what I'm saying. You hear that thunder? He had thunder, and all of a sudden he went out. He'll come right back in. But no, but that does it make sense that maybe it's possible that in a way Cyril isn't built for like right now where the Empire is at this time, right? Like his desire to do his job the right way and care and do a good job doesn't fit with their current formula, right? He's kind of like, in a way, he's kind of an outlier. He's not going to be your most favorite like coworker in the office, right? I mean, you notice like most people don't like him at Primor.
Yeah, he's that kind of person there that just like either someone who's annoying or they know he's trying to be up to something type of thing, but
yeah, I got that vibe from him a little bit at first, but then I realized later on that it wasn't like that, which was interesting. But no, but Jay, did you hear what I was asking you?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I got knocked off. I don't know what happened.
No. I just wanted to know, what did you think of that? Now that you've had more time, I know we talked about this before, but seeing that trope go on and whatnot, right? Now, like I was saying to Kelly, I mean, we're not used to seeing people being willing to like go over their supervisors or their bosses,
right?
The Empire, whatnot, behind their backs, and just go do whatever they want and whatnot and everything, right? Like, you think they'd be afraid of something like that, right? You know, like that just shows you the way how lax things are, right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but at the same time, I think he's just really hungry to be somebody. You know, he wants to be a huge part in the Empire and not just some guy who's working behind a desk. You know, like after his what would you call it, a suspension, like the failed attempt at getting Andor. You know, basically got his whole squad killed. But I think he's still in his mind says, I got this. I know what the Empire needs. I know how to find these people. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be a hero.
Yes, because that's the thing. They probably they probably almost never do things like actually ever have to go and actually do physical arrests and sort of like that, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you saw him too when he had that great scene, right? With that the one character, the Colonel, in episode 2. What was his name? What was his name? His name was, he said the one that had those great lines. There's pockets, right? There's pockets festering or whatever, right? You know what I mean? Whatnot, right? His name is Linus Mosk, Sergeant Linus Mosk. He agrees with Cyril, right? Like he respects him. He's thankful. He's like appreciative that somebody actually cares.
Yeah.
About the deaths and whatnot, right? And everything and whatnot, and commends him. And then when he actually asked Mosk, like, do you think I should lead the squad? Right? Like, he was really genuinely asking. He didn't know.
Yeah.
And Mosk, oh yeah, definitely. You know, like morale. It'd be good for morale and everything, right? But I think, what does that tell you, Cal? Like, they're not used to actually having to fucking do it. They're not used to doing anything.
No.
They don't got to get their hands dirty anymore, right? And it's not normal for a supervisor or like a boss anymore or whatever, whatnot, to actually go out in the field. Like, the way Cyril fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, really fucked up, right? And you tell me, Jay, connecting into episode 3 and him getting his whole squad killed, right? When they do go to Ferris to get Cassian after Tim rats him out. Great episode. Episode 3. Great episode.
Yeah.
Really loved it. Loved it when Ferris all came together. Right?
Yeah.
You know, and the shit Marvel was talking,
Mhm.
you know, to like the what do you go? Oh, why do I you know, this is the thing about when you haven't reviewed these series for a while, you forget how to pronounce shit. Like you were saying earlier, Cal. You forget the actors' names, I'm trying to remember what is it called? Is it Promore? Premore, the Premore Corporation, right?
Yeah.
No. So, in a way, right? Like, honestly, it was unnatural for him to do what he did, right? Like, he shouldn't have done what he did, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? And he had no experience, obviously, doing it. You know, do what he did and whatnot and everything, right? I mean, if anything, it was Moss that knew what the fuck he was doing.
Right.
He was the one running the show, right? You know, and again, he said some profound shit. I forget all his exact words, but he said some good shit at that one point. There's pockets that are fermenting, right? You know what I'm saying? Like trying to like warn Cyril about the rebellion, right?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, Jay, Cyril in season 2, we don't know what he's gonna be. He could be anything.
Right.
He could be with the rebellion.
Yeah, I think it's really cool in the writing where you don't know where he's going to end up. I almost feel like he's going to be part of the Rebel Alliance, but then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, no, he's just too evil for that. Like, you know, but like if they keep dicking him around and you know, he doesn't get what he wants, especially after he saves. I forget his name.
Hydra.
Yeah, and I didn't want to get that far ahead, but
you're fine.
He's got that look in his eyes, like it, and I couldn't tell whether it was he's saying "I love you" to her, and that's why I came to save you, or it was that elation of like I'm back in their good graces now.
I couldn't tell either.
Yeah,
I think both.
Right, yeah, I think so too.
Like he's drawn to her.
Oh, big
and
time.
It's like he'll do anything since she came to interview. Like I said, I don't want to jump ahead either, but since they first met and then on to that part where he picks her up and everything, I just think he's infatuated with her.
Yeah,
and as well as trying to get in the good graces to try to get back into where he was.
Yeah,
and he respects her too because she has similar beliefs to him.
Yeah,
right, just differently, right?
Yeah,
she does,
and she was going through the same struggles too, because it was like all the other higher ups in the Empire were just talking down to her, and everything. And she really had to prove herself. You know what I mean?
Oh, and she did, and she shut him up too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I loved her.
Yeah, I like her character a lot.
No, she's great. She really is. I forgot who it was. I think Cyber didn't like her. I loved her.
Really?
Yeah, I thought she was great. I remember somebody didn't like her. I can't remember who it was. But someone didn't like her. I like her.
I mean, it's you love to hate her. You know what I mean? It's so. Yeah, you like her, but you hate her at the same time.
I've watched her and her. Surprising. I guess it's not surprising. It makes sense. Her and Cyril get together. They did a lot of the interview junket tour stuff together, right?
Oh, okay.
They're actually really cool and funny. Right?
Oh, nice.
In real life, when they talk, when they're actually themselves and whatnot and everything.
Yeah.
They're very quippy and witty and whatnot and everything. Of course, they're British, right? So what a surprise, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, but like still though, they're cool as hell. Like they're really cool. And I don't know. I feel like Cyril is the biggest wild card in season 2. Like who knows what he could end up being.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at the end of the day, he might end up getting to a point where throughout his experience and like mistakes and learning process, he'll just see the rebellion as a stronger side.
Yeah.
The one where he can grow easily more, like it fits him better. Mm-hmm. Right? What do you think, Cal? What do you see Cyril like fitting into season 2?
I think it's like a slow fitting in, but he I'm trying to not jump ahead but not go back. But just for me, I think it's going to be a little slower for him to get back into where he wanted to be. If that makes sense.
He may not even end up back with the Empire. Yeah,
that's why I'm thinking everything's going slow for a reason, because we don't know which road it's going to take them moving forward.
It's possible, right, Jay, Cal, that if anything, maybe, it's possible that Deidre, other loyal people at Primor, other people in the Empire that believe in her, right, and him, they could actually go off in their own sect, right, and actually almost maybe keep their jobs, but start their own sort of I don't know, not insurrection, but a different party almost within the Empire, kind of a wing that's secretive. Does that make sense?
Sure.
I could see that there being a possible possibility where there could be division in the Empire based off of the council, based off of what happened in the first season. Yeah. To where there could actually be real actual conflict between people on that side, where some people might say, you know what, maybe I'm better off with the rebellion.
Right.
Or maybe maybe my boss is the Empire, a bunch of pussies, right? And we need to go Mandalorian style and have our own sect, like Death Watch and shit, right?
Right.
And go in that direction. But you tell me. Now, I'll go to you first, Jay, and I'll go to you, Cal. Throughout episodes 1 through 3, right? Now, again, episode 2, more exposition, right? The preemptive sort of discussions and whatnot before the actual mission in episode 3, right?
Yeah.
Where we get some action and we get some really good tension and suspense, right? And Ferris comes to life, and hey, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to look real quick at the Wikipedia at this, because I don't have my glossary right in front of me that I had from the Andor series. I took it out of my notebook of all the different actresses and actors I'd written down, but the woman that plays Marva or Maeve, mm-hmm. She's fucking awesome. She is great. Right. Seriously, from jump to end, she is just great. Her scenes are great. Mm-hmm. I love her dialogue.
Different from what she's played in before. Totally different. And I enjoyed it with her in this series.
I've only seen her in 1 or 2 other things.
Yeah, what has she been in?
I don't remember exactly what shows, but her character, one of her characters was this kind of goofy old lady, absent-minded, and kind of playing low, not tough girl, but it's kind of really absent-minded and goofy, kind of and I've seen her in something else. I wish I could remember what they were, but I have seen her before, and I remember her the way she acted in one of them. So,
okay.
But this one was a little more refreshing because she was playing something totally different than that thing I saw her in. So I was like, oh yeah, she's badass now.
I remember Cyber saying that he's seen her in several things. That she's been acting for a long time.
Oh yeah, she has.
Okay, Kyle Solar plays Cyril Karn. Remember? Good name. Adria Arjana plays Bix Colleen. Fiona Shaw, that's her name. Great name too. Plays Marva Andor, Cassie's adopted mother. Who saved him from Canary with Clem, which we saw right in the flashbacks. Episode 2 starts with another Canary flashback. Denise Go plays Deidre Miro. My favorite, Genevieve O'Reilly, gorgeous, absolutely epically beautiful woman, stoically beautiful. Genevieve O'Reilly, who was robbed and should have gotten at least a nomination or something, for her acting in the friggin' series as Mom Mothma, right? Our one returning character from the original trilogy. And then Faye Marseille played Belle Sartha. Loved Belle. Loved her in the series. I missed her. I didn't think, but I just thought about it in my head. I love Belle. She was great. I love Belle. Verada Sathu played Cinta. I love Cinta too. She was great. All the rebels that were part of the heist were great for the most part.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Dula played Clea Marquet, Lucian's assistant. I loved her too. It is a tea store. She was cutthroat as hell. And then besides that, the only ones I think that like you might want to mention would be, of course, the fact that we have, of course, Anton Lesser as Major Partagaz. Eben Moss Backrick, who I hadn't seen stuff before and whatnot, as Arvel Skeen from the heist. Let's see. Andy Serkis, oh boy. As Kino Loy. Jeez. Talk about some. I can't wait to rewatch those episodes. Forrest Whitaker as Saw Gerrera. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. And then, of course, I believe it's Dave Chapman voices B2EMO. Or however the hell you pronounce it. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be fluid or you just like individually. I'm not sure. Yeah. But whatever. Either way. So what I was going to ask you, Cal, was for you, right now, again, going in fresh, okay, having maybe seen the trailers, having not seen them. You've seen Rogue One. When you got through the first 3 episodes, right? Where were you at, sort of, with the show? Can you remember?
Where was I at with the show?
Yeah. What were your thoughts? How did you feel? You know, like, I mean, you know, what was the dinner talk about it like? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Were you enthusiastic? Did episode 3 kind of like put some wind in your sails? Were you a little bit bored with the first 2 episodes?
It would take really a lot for me to be bored through it, but there was some, you know, some slow parts and stuff like that, but I think it was pretty steady and straightforward for me, at least. I like the beginning when it started off quick, because then it takes them to build up in the other episodes that we've watched. Like I said, I watched these with my husband and my oldest son, and like I said, my oldest son should be on here because he is legitly hardcore all this stuff.
You could have
we talk about different aspects and stuff of it and everything, and I think between all 3 of us combined, we kind of agreed that it was off to a good start, and I like the idea of them starting the first one off right off. That way it can lead and have more room for like the progression of the rest of the episodes and everything. So
yeah, it's good to see too. It's rare, I think, isn't it, to see? It's rare these days to see a series that actually like comes out and does that, right? And just gets better and better and better.
Yeah.
No, so what do you think, Jay? I mean, where were you at?
Yeah, same way. I mean, with Star Wars, it's pretty hard not to keep me like totally into it. You know, I can definitely see where some people were a little off about the slow start, but you know, if you got somebody who was not a fan of Star Wars and showed them that, they would probably say it's a little slow. But if they took the long haul, they would see like how good that show is. I mean, it didn't have to be a Star Wars show in order for that to be a good series. You know, it's just cool that it was, you know, in my opinion. But and you know what it leads into, so you know, I was excited for that, see how it all comes together. You know, because I think Andor is going to change quite a bit. The character, I think he's going to change quite a bit over the next, because the next season takes place over 4 years, I believe.
Oh yeah, that's right. They are. They're going to go. They're going to take it right.
Oh, so it is a 4-year gap. Okay.
Yeah. It's a year before Rogue One.
Yeah. So,
he'll be what? He'll be Captain Andor by then.
Yeah. So, I'm just excited. I was excited from the beginning, as knowing where it leads into. It's gonna hold me to my seat no matter what.
Oh no, and I'll tell you right now, I just thought about with that time jump, Cal. Cassian will be full on Rebel Alliance by then, right?
Oh yeah.
They'll be doing guerrilla warfare missions and shit like that and whatnot. There's going to be active combat and whatnot and all that. So there will be more action. Definitely. Like they're going to be doing shit that's way beyond the heist.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not that it's going to be a 4-year jump. It's the second season takes place over 4 years. So the way the first season is set up.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. So the way the first season is set up, it was, I believe it was either 1 or 2 years. But you know how it seemed like it was 4 trilogies, the way it was like planned out. I think that's going to be the way it is in the season 2, except every 3 episodes is going to be a year.
Well, I'll tell you right now, reviewing House of the Dragon fucked me up, man, with the time jumps they had. Did you hear about that shit?
Nah.
Yo, and whatever, I can't remember, Cal, how many episodes there were, 12, 13?
Oh,
But
yeah.
either way, throughout the series, literally, there's time jumps like 4 or 5 times that are like, at one point, that one time jump is like 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Right? Yeah. And then before that, the one before that was 8. Yeah. And then there was another one before that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It really throws you off. You're like, what the frig? You know what I'm
Did they
saying?
have to recast like some of the younger? Because there were a couple of younger.
They didn't recast. They brought in the actors and actresses to play all the different aged characters.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. No, in fact, you know, one of the big tropes was that everyone, I forget her name, that actually she played the daughter of the king. And basically she a lot of people want, like, there was talks and whatnot. Everyone loved her the younger actress that portrayed her, the young her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought she was great.
She was super popular, and there was hella buzz that they might do a spin-off series just with her. Like out of that, right? You know what I mean? Whatnot, right? But Ramira, right? Was that her name, Kelly? Is it Ravira?
It was, let's see here. I'm looking at it right now.
So long ago, man. Jeez, that was over a year ago.
Princess Reina?
Reina. Yeah, Reina. Yep.
Holy, she's looking majorly different right now.
She's a savage, man. I'll tell you right now, Jay. She gives birth in that freaking movie like twice, where like she just like pops a baby out and just doesn't even stutter. Right? Like, no joke.
She's like, oh yeah, it's the breeze.
She like breathes hard for a minute and she like puts her clothes on and shit and just walks. Right?
I know, she's just like, hey, don't forget to cut the umbilical cord. And she's marching along.
Yeah. I was like,
oh,
like, God damn, you're a soldier.
Right.
Like, holy shit. Like that, I don't think I'd be able to do all that. But no, so now basically, would you say that, I guess maybe, well, I'll tell you what, I'll kill it right here with the Andor right now, just to change things up a little bit and whatnot, to kind of finish things up and like tighten things up and give me something decent for, like, you know, a final 1 or 2 questions. Let me play a Rogue One trailer, right? Just to kind of change the vibe a little bit and whatnot. And I love them, and I'll play an Andor trailer, give us something visual. You know, that way, plus if anybody needs to pee or whatever, grab a water bottle, you can. But I'm going to go ahead and play some trailers real quick and whatnot. And then we'll just bounce a couple questions off that and we'll get out of here.
The world is coming undone. Imperial flags reign across the galaxy.
Can you be trusted without your shackles?
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
We've a mission for you.
A major weapons test is imminent. We need to know how to destroy it.
If you're really doing this, I want to help.
Good.
Good. I've been recruiting for the rebellion for a long time.
We destroyed our home. I fight the Empire now.
I fear nothing. All is as the Force wills it.
The captain says you are a friend. I will not kill you.
Thanks. There isn't much time.
Every day they grow stronger.
There is a 97.6% chance of failure.
He means well.
This is our chance to make a real difference. Are you with me?
All the way.
Looking for Andor. That was awesome. I love that scene. I love it.
Yeah.
The armor is the bomb.
To steal from the Empire. To just walk in like you belong. They're so proud of themselves. So fat and satisfied. They can't imagine that someone like me would ever get inside their house.
Cassian Andor. The Empire is choking us so slowly. We're starting not to notice. What I'm asking is this. Wouldn't you rather give it all to something real? I need all the heroes I can get.
For the greater good.
Call it what you will.
Let's call it war.
There's fermenting out there, son. Pockets of fermenting.
You're in my net. Are you a fish? Or are you a thief?
You're slipping. I'm not slipping. I've just been hiding for too long.
As long as everyone thinks I'm an irritation, there's a good chance they'll miss what I'm really doing.
What are you really doing?
This is what revolution looks like.
I'm tired of losing.
The music. Unbelievable. Okay. Now, Cal. you said you'd seen the Andor trailers before, right?
Yes, I've seen the Andor.
Okay. Now, I didn't play both of them. They're both really good. They are. Individually, they're both really good. They are. They're not like that. One's shitty, one's good, or whatever. One not. They're both pretty decent. Now, I don't know if the same. I don't know how this works. I'm not sure if the same gentleman that did the score for the series actually also did this. I don't think it works that way. I don't think he did the music for the trailers too. I don't know, but it could have been him. But it actually kind of. I don't know, Jay. Does it sound a little bit like some of this stuff? It sounds a little bit like the Andor music, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think it all goes back to John Williams sounds.
Yes.
Kind of like they cherry picked what they wanted to use. But so it doesn't necessarily sound original, but it's still pretty awesome.
No.
It fits the show and the theme.
No, I love it. It's just it's great music. It's classical almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yet also suspenseful. It really fits well into the vibe of the show, to the trailer, I think, right?
Yeah.
What did you think, Cal? I mean, you tell me. And when I saw the first two Andor trailers, they blew me the fuck away.
They blew me away too, and I liked the intensity of some of the when they had some of the action parts, and then even like the intro to the song and stuff. I thought it was very like not dramatic, but like just had that intense thing, and it knew when to decline and incline. And so I wrote something actually down about it because I actually because you said something about oh my God, you just said his name and now I can't remember it. John Williams.
Oh, John Williams. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
There was something about the composer and something I was looking at and stuff and like reading about and something I can't find it now, but it was one of the things I had written down about it. But it was really, I thought it blew me away. Anything like that with such intensity to it, it just really draws me in more.
He did a great job. I had to look it up. I can't remember whether or not I have to believe he was nominated for the award. He must have got an Emmy nomination or something or whatever and whatnot, right? For the score. But I don't know.
Sure.
I know they got nominated for quite a few things for Andor.
Digital effects. I know digital effects got nominated. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I can't say for 100% that the music was part of it.
No.
It should be.
No. Well, I know, and I know. I don't know about you, Cal. We know that, of course, that Diego Luna got nominated for an Emmy, right, for Best Actor, which is huge for that to happen for this genre of film or TV. It does not happen very often,
right.
So
and he was actually not. No, I'm thinking of the other guy. I'm sorry. Thinking about the Mandalorian because he was nominated for The Last of Us and for the Mandalorian.
Oh, both?
No, you know what? No, not the Mandalorian.
Did they nominate?
No, there was somebody I thought was nominated for two different things.
I was gonna say, did he get nominated for Last of Us?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? He deserves it. He deserved it.
He's good. I liked him in both.
You know what I thought about that, Jay? You saw Last of Us, didn't you?
You know what? I didn't. It's on my must see list,
dude.
But I had not.
It is freaking powerful as shit, right, Cal? I mean, it is like powerful. Really, I mean, seriously. You want to talk about like a very inventive, version of a post-apocalyptic American, type film.
Yeah,
it's like it has that Walking Dead formula kind of going on from back when they first came out.
Yeah.
Right. That's on some new shit. And honestly, not to get deep on it, but I don't see why anybody from the video game community would be unhappy with what they gave them with that show, whatnot, and everything. Right? It was goddamn good.
Yeah, I've heard it was a perfect companion for it.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought to myself, if I loved a video game, right?
Yeah.
And I already know for a fact, because of everything that's been going on for years with the MCU and whatnot, that you can't translate shit like this overall to TV series and movies. It doesn't just work perfectly, right? You can't do it, right? But they did a great job. They made a major effort. Again, can't remember the names of the the guy that made the game, wrote the game, and then worked with the director, right? From he did that HBO movie that was so popular a couple years ago. God, what's the town they got nuked? That the nuclear plant leaked.
What, Chernobyl?
Chernobyl. The guy that directed Chernobyl directed Last of Us.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but they worked hand in hand, right? The guy that wrote the game, they worked hand in hand.
Okay.
And they did a really great job of bringing in a lot of the voice actors and whatnot from the games and having them. They had them play roles in the movie, in the series.
Cool.
They did. They blended them in, right? For me, what do you think? I mean, Jay, those trailers, the Rogue One ones are awesome, but I felt like they shot the trailers differently than any Star Wars trailer I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The scope of the ships.
Yes.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Like that one scene where who is that? Is that Sinza or whatnot and everything that looks up? Right? Is that who that was? Who was that? Who was that? Was that
Jyn Erso?
Yeah, who was that character that looks up and whatnot and she sees the Imperial ship?
It wasn't Jyn Erso?
No, it was what's her name's girlfriend? It was Cinta. Remember? The one that got left at the heist?
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
The dark skinned one that was I forget Mom Mothma's friend there. And whatnot, the blonde hair girl, they had the relationship or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know her name, but yeah, I know who you're talking about.
She looks up and you see that Imperial ship, and it's just like it crowds the entire.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you catch the whole scope of how large these things are.
I've seen them in space, but not like that, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that close to the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're enormous. And I'd imagine that shit would be almost scary but majestic, almost overwhelming, mind blowing to see some shit like that.
Yeah.
Right. But I felt like the music, Jay and Kel, it fit so well with the lines, the dialogue, right? And they did a great job, just like they did in the series, with how they handled how much they displayed Luthen, for example, right?
Yeah.
They didn't show us all his profound speeches and shit, right? Just a little bit of this and that. You barely get Mom Mothma.
Right.
You barely get in there. Right? And again, if you dropped out of Andor after episode 2, you don't even know how goddamn good Genevieve O'Reilly and Mom Mothma was in the series. You don't even know. You have no idea. You didn't even see what she did or what happens to her and whatnot, and where she goes with her world life ends up going.
Yeah.
Which we're going to be flushing out over the here and whatnot and everything. That's the fun part about doing these recaps, I think. Cal, is the reason I don't want to go too far ahead with certain things is because of the fact that there's so much character development. Right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
As and there's so much parallelization, right? Character parallelization and things like that and whatnot between Luthen and Mon Mothma in those last sort of 4, 5, 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Where they're centering it more and more and more and more and more, right? That they're almost two sides of a coin, just in different positions. You know what I mean? In terms of what they had to give up to make the rebellion work, right? To do their jobs, to do their roles, and how they handle it, right? And they portrayed it very well. But now, let me ask you, now, Tony Gilroy, right? Cal, were you familiar with Tony Gilroy before Andor?
No, like I said, it's hard to put names with the characters sometimes, so I'm not sure of Tony
He
now.
directed Rogue One, didn't he, Jay?
Yes. Yeah.
Tony Gilroy directed Andor. He directed Rogue One.
Yes.
Jay, had you knew of him?
Only through that, you know. I can't say that I recognized him from before. It wasn't like I heard, oh, he's tied to it. Oh, good, you know. But
next time we do one of these, folks, I'm actually going to play some footage of him being interviewed. I was actually very impressed by him, right? Because I heard him say in an interview that he does when he came into the Star Wars projects and in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't go in there with a lens or a vision in any way, shape, or form that has anything to do with politics or what's trending or what's popular or what's PC, right? What he cares about is what the origins are of the story, what is being presented to him, and how to make it, how to perform it the best, right? How to make that work in the best form, right? So, you know, like he doesn't care. He has no desire whatsoever to go into these projects, right? And include his own biases into them.
Right.
Like he does not operate that way.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get all like intense about it either.
Right.
He's like, I just don't do that shit. It's not my deal. Right. Like, I don't think Star Wars works that way, you know, which I respect that. I do, you know. It was almost like him like living in California and saying, I'm not going to be woke. Right. I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying, for anybody? So I guess sort of a last question would be, or like, you know, for you two, and I'll start with you, Cal, ladies first, would be, Cal, now, again, how did, you know, sort of, I mean, this is a long-term question. I know we only talked about episode 1 through 3, but did you feel after you watched those first couple episodes, if you can go back, or even now, when you rewatch them, do you feel at all like you view Star Wars differently in any way? Like maybe there's possibilities you didn't know were there. Would this time?
Yeah, I think not comparing, but if I just stuck to the general Star Wars thing, which they all had the same thing of all 9 of them, but then you get these other side ones kind of branching down the map. I thought they had some similarity, but they also had their own individuality as well, which made it so that it was its own thing, but yet you're still relating it to everything. So if that makes sense.
Well, sure, going animated with Clone Wars Rebels was smart.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the animated ones. I don't know. My son's totally into everything, including the animated ones. I'm just a little iffy on them for me, but I started watching one of them back a ways with him. I can't remember which ones they were, but...
Does it bother you, Jay? Do you not like the animation that they did those in animation?
Yeah, because it's like you're branching off from real people to cartoons and then back to real people again.
No, Jay, did that put a bad taste in your mouth? Did you not like that they did that in animation, in animated form?
No, not at all. Like I like the, you know, expanding of the lore. I'm not a fan of cartoons per se, but like Rebels like held me down. Clone Wars, I kind of lost. They kind of lost me after maybe the second season, but I did, after I saw Rebels, go back and I watched on YouTube like the most important parts of Clone Wars that you need to know. So I got it in 45 minutes, like the entire series in 45 minutes. So, but like, no, I liked Rebels. I liked the Bad Batch. Yeah, so it's stuff they're doing now is good. As far as your question about the how these stories, you know, lend to each other, I just love the expansion of the lore. And you know, there's questions that are like very ominous that you kind of find out through the shows, what you didn't perceive in your head. There's a lot of that with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, kind of like why Obi-Wan made choices that he did, why he was broken until he defeated Vader. You know, like his whole dissension into the dark side. You know, Obi-Wan took that hard, took it as it was his fault. And then it was kind of like, when they're having their duel and Vader was like, no, you didn't kill Anakin. I killed Anakin, And so then when you also think back to the story in that Ben tells Luke in episode 4, and he says, yeah, your father was betrayed and murdered by Darth Vader, so it kind of, all that makes it all make sense, from a certain point of view. But so I love the expanded lore. Some people are like, man, I wish they would really go to an area in the timeline and nobody's been to, which they're actually uncovering that now. So hopefully we'll have answers to those soon. But I just love the expansion of the lore and putting pieces together and all that good stuff.
I haven't watched Kenobi. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, you haven't?
It's the one I haven't watched, but I'm going.
Okay.
No, I'm going to. I think I'm going to watch it in between Clone Wars and Rebels.
Okay.
And I'm really excited for Rebels because it's going to tie me right into Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And watching Ahsoka leave Rebels or Clone Wars and whatnot, and everything was like a big blow for me, man. Because I was like, damn, are you kidding me?
Right.
Come on now. Like, why am I even going to want to watch this shit now?
Right.
Right? Like, seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, Obi-Wan, her, and Anakin are what makes Clone Wars good.
Yeah.
For me. Right?
Yep.
That and like, Lord Doth, what's his name? Dothku, whatever, whatnot. I like him too.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, basically, it'll be cool. The especially the second Ahsoka trailer was confusing as shit to me. I don't know who those characters are.
Yeah.
Right. I have no idea. Other than what you told me and whatnot about, like, what happened to Thrawn and the one Jedi that's trapped with Thrawn. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I knew who some of them were because I watched that. I don't know what the name of which cartoon it was.
Rebels.
Pathways, but I recognized obviously her. The one with I can't remember what's the character that has the
Sabine.
green long because she's a pilot.
Yeah, Sabine, right? Oh no, Hera Syndulla.
Yeah.
And then you had the at least in the cartoon, she was portrayed slightly different, but not quite. But she was kind of in between. She wasn't part of the resistance or the rebellion or anything like that. She was kind of almost like a Mandalorian.
She's a
I can't remember
Mandalorian.
her name either.
That's Sabine.
She was in it as well. This new one we're going to be watching.
Yeah.
Does she? Now I'll find this out in Rebels. But what does she actually? Does she end up like a loose Mandalorian, or does she actually walk away from the Mandalorian way?
They had the Siege of Mandalore in the Clone Wars, and everybody kind of went their separate ways after that because Mandalore was no longer inhabitable.
Oh, you mean when what's his name bombed the fuck out of it?
Yes. Yeah. So so everybody was going their separate ways, and Sabine just got became part of the Ghost crew. The Ghost is
the Ghost, the Ahsoka droids, yeah.
So that's how she got. But at the beginning of Rebels, she was just always there. You didn't really know her backstory until later on in the season.
Now they do end up incorporating themselves into the rebellion, right?
Yeah.
And does that then? I'm fanboying out a little bit here. I just want to know: does that then bring Ahsoka back into that fold too?
Yeah, she comes in. I think season 2 or 3, and she comes back in, and yeah, she was a huge part of the series.
Oh, the fandom will be really happy then. I think the show will probably do really well. I mean, if these characters if Rebels was the better show. The Clone Wars and whatnot, and everything, and those people and those characters are very popular,
yeah,
and known. right? Just not to me. Although I'm learning. At that point, I would have to imagine that like people they'll be happy. They should, from a fan service standpoint, they'll be happy to see the whole Ghost team back together.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I'm not sure if they're going to deliver that. Are they? They're not. Were all those characters in the trailers?
The only one I didn't see. Well, there's two that I didn't see. One was Zeb, but he showed up in what was it? Oh, The Mandalorian. He was in Mandalorian season 3. And if you didn't know who to look for, you wouldn't know. But they showed him, and the voice actor is the same because he's this alien that he looks more like the first renditions of Wookiees from back when they were planning the original movies. But so, and then Kanan is a Jedi that led the Ghost crew. But
didn't he abandon the Jedi way or whatever it was? At one point, yet still train. What's his name?
Yeah, yes and no. I think he's still kind of in hiding. Like, he survived Order 66 as a child.
Ezra. Ezra.
Oh, you're talking about Ezra?
Does he train Ezra?
Oh, he trains Ezra. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But those are the versions and episodes, the cartoon ones that my son was watching that I started watching with.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that crew that's gonna be with Ahsoka.
And it's now I'm assuming Thrawn must show up at least. He shows up. Does he at least show up in Rebels?
No, not even a mention.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't mentioned in the Disney canon until Mandalorian season 2, when Ahsoka was fighting that woman, and she says, "Where's your master? Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?" And so he was part of the Legends books and things like that. Never showed up in the Disney part of things. So when I heard that, I was like, "Oh my goodness!" Like, they're going there,
I think you didn't explain it to me, but I got the gist of that he really wasn't incorporated into anything like really, I guess, canon from at least from a TV standpoint or a movie standpoint.
Correct.
Right. Now, at that point though, in Rebels, do they at least? I mean, does Ezra end up in between?
Oh wait, Thrawn is in that. What am I thinking?
I was going to say,
Jesus Christ.
No,
you're absolutely right.
Isn't that why in Ahsoka, like she's still trying to find Ezra?
Yeah, they're looking for both of them. Yeah. Oh man, I must be falling asleep over here. But but yeah, because at the end of Rebels, Ezra and Thrawn just kind of disappear. They go into hyperspace and are apparently going to an unknown region, so nobody knows where they are. My only concern with this is if unless Ahsoka jumps time periods, it doesn't make sense, because that means that they left Ezra out there in no man's land with this evil guy for like 9 years. So them looking for him now is just kind of odd to me, but we'll see how it plays out.
Well, and again, I don't know. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know. Again, I haven't watched Rebels, right? But some of, and again, Cal, some of this stuff and whatnot, I only know because Jay's told me, right? Or Gunner's told me, my friend Gunner, has explained this stuff to me and whatnot, right? I've got to read the novels. But either way, now in terms of like, I guess, was it, if I remember correctly, Jay, doesn't Ezra use the whale thing, the whales?
Yes.
Those aliens that we saw in The Mandalorian?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Grogu saw them in season 3 when they were in hyperspace.
Yeah. Yeah. They kind of like wrap themselves around the ship that they're on, even break the hull, and so they kind of get pulled, like Ezra and Thrawn they've got an embrace going on, and then the whales kind of embrace them, and then they're off, and that's the last you see of them.
Well, didn't Ezra also? I thought it wasn't in that situation that Ezra saved Ahsoka's life.
No, that was in probably season 3, and it's real important because this is going to center the world between worlds is going to be part of Ahsoka's TV show. But it's really it's almost like you can open a portal in like some Jedi temple or whatever. You can open a portal and see different eras of the Star Wars storytelling. And Ezra's poking his head in there and ends up seeing Ahsoka and Darth Vader fighting, and she's about to die. She's going to lose the fight. And
well, she does die, doesn't she? Then she gets resurrected. She does. She dies.
Does she? Okay. And then so that Ezra pulls her out right before her death scene, and then that's how he saves her. But so she should be long dead.
No, she dies. I know it for a fact. I've read it.
Yeah,
I've heard about it.
Well, no, I mean he kind of rewound things. I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
he kind of rewound things and pulled her out just in time.
This is where shit gets complicated, Cal. You better watch. Your ass better watch Rebels like me before you watch the show.
I watched some of them, but I gotta refresh my memory and watch them again.
Well, from what I understand, if I understand correctly, what you need for Ahsoka, basically, if you want to understand the gist of it, is you don't really need Clone Wars. You need Rebels.
Yeah.
So now Skeleton Crew is a whole other deal, Jay. I've got to get into that too.
Yeah.
What have they done? 2 seasons
of Skeleton Crew?
Yeah.
No, I think they only got one in the bag, and that's
one.
Yeah, and that hasn't even been released yet.
Oh, that's right. It didn't even come out yet.
Yeah, it's coming in November, I believe.
I'm tripping. My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I remember now. Okay, well, look. Bottom line, let's get the hell out of here. Right, folks, next Sunday, it's going to get heavy and hot because we're going to cover the heist. And I'm going to have the time to actually rip some clips and whatnot and everything from episodes 4, 5, and 6 and whatnot so I can play them and whatnot, some short ones so we can actually kind of focus in on some of the good stuff that comes on in another section that some people found boring at times, right? Even I did a little bit. I won't lie to you. When they were kind of like preparing for the heist and whatnot, but there was also some profound shit that goes down, and the heist episode is great. I mean, that was almost like the breakthrough in a way. I thought, like, look back at it now, that was almost like the breakthrough for me, where I was like, okay, all right, and then it really gets going. Right. But the way I see it is probably, if anything, we'll talk about Rogue One at the end, right? That would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that works.
From a logical standpoint,
Absolutely.
There you go, folks. Well, hey, Cal, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
And lending your Star Wars knowledge, right? I appreciate it. And look, see, it wasn't so bad. I told you.
And Kelly, I just subscribed. So you
What's
got
that?
I just subscribed, so you got a new fan
Thank
on your
you.
Facebook page or your YouTube page.
There you go. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, thank you very much.
Hey, everyone counts. Everyone counts.
It
Cal,
does.
please tell us about Kel's reactions. What can you tell us?
Mainly it's music I've never heard of or bands I've never heard of, and I want to learn more about new ones. So people will throw suggestions in the comments, and I add them to a nice Excel sheet, which is probably a mile long.
You got a
And I
Wasp
just
reaction?
pick one.
I love Wasp.
And
It's my
react
favorite
to
band.
it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I see
Oh, you're fine.
You've got Wasp up there.
Oh yeah, so people.
Wasp
I've
is-
heard of some groups, but I just never heard their entirety. It's like you hear some of their popular songs, but you don't hear ones that other people think are popular and like a lot and stuff. So.
Because Wasp is my favorite band.
Oh, my daughter is just told me she's getting into the Iron Maiden.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that awesome?
I've done some Iron Maidens.
Oh man, I saw Oppenheimer the other night with my son. Wow.
Yeah, they're saying it's a pretty incredible movie.
It's fucking dope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see. I think I'm gonna go see it tomorrow. We're doing a spoiler-free review tomorrow, folks.
My husband and son went and saw it, and they liked it.
Oh, it was really good. No, it was awesome. You know how
They
it
were
is.
calling it Barbenheimer or whatever it was called, because it was a total of 2 movies coming out at the same time, so they combined the name. I was like,
yeah.
That's a whole different can of worms right there.
For me, like, I mean, I always find it very like awesome and whatnot for your kids when your kids get old enough and whatnot to be able to take in a movie like that and whatnot and like enjoy it and grasp at some level that what they're watching is like something that's really, really, really epic, right? You know, like, and like you could see it. You could see my son's energy that he was like really, really into it and whatnot. And the suspense was fucking him up. Right? He got bored though at the end because it was 3 hours long, and it got like heavy dialogue, right? Talkie, right? And like that part kind of bored him out. But either way, good ass movie. And no, folks, I'm not even sure what the hell we're doing on Wednesday this week. Which is crazy. I gotta look at the schedule. Secret Invasion's over. Jeez. Cyber was sick last week. So we didn't do Back to the Future. We didn't review it on Friday. I didn't want to do it without Cyber, right? Which, you know, at that point, that throws off our movies. I think we're doing a DC animated review on Wednesday. I think it's actually Green Lanterns. The Green Lantern one, Emerald Knights.
Oh, okay.
And then, depending on what Cyber says and what he wants to do, on Friday, I think we're reviewing Braveheart. Right? And we're going to throw the Back to the Future back in the mix later on. Hey, folks. Honestly, I think did I tell you, Jay, we're doing The Godfather and The Godfather 1, man, in October, bro.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's just gonna be hot, bro. Can't wait.
Nice.
It's gonna be dope. Cal, you're gonna love it, man. Wait till you do your first movie review. They're fun, man. They're great. No, but Jay, I haven't talked to you, man. The Monday shows actually gave him a title. It's the MCU Bleeding Edge Report. I think did I tell you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually episodical. We just finished doing Dead City, the Walking Dead spinoff. It was kind of
Oh, was it?
Yeah. This should be good though.
Yeah.
I
still want to check out the Dead City because I like Negan's character.
Oh yeah, no, you should check. Negan was good. It was Maggie that didn't really do it for me.
Gotcha.
I thought Negan was solid.
Okay, cool.
But that might have just been the writing. I don't know. You know. But it looks like season 2 might be better, right? And of course, I mean, I think everybody at the end of the day is the big one everyone wants to see is the Michonne Rick one.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Cal, I didn't even ask you, are you a Walking Dead fan?
I started watching it. My husband and I used to watch it all the time, but then it got to a certain point, it just was like, how long can you go with this?
I think everyone did
You're
that.
just killing zombies every episode, so it kind of the storyline kind of lost us after a while.
In fact, I think almost everybody pretty much got out at the same time too.
Yeah.
Right around episode 6 or season 6, season 5.
Yeah, I think
I probably watched a little bit after when Rick was done with the show and stuff. So.
Oh, you got that far? Yeah, I was already out. No. I dip in here and there and whatnot and everything, and you could kind of have an idea what was going on. But all my favorite characters were dead, right?
Yeah.
So you know, I mean, when Glenn died, that took a part of my soul. So either way, Cal, what are you going to be reacting to next? I mean, we would have already had some Band-Aid reactions up here between me and you, if not for like crazy, stupid internet bullshit, Wi-Fi bullshit.
As soon as I get my ether cord there, should be all set.
Oh shit! Look at that. She did the pot Tool. She did Tool over here, Jay.
Yeah.
And then she did Blondie. Oh, love it. Cal, I'm impressed.
Yeah, I'm gonna check a few of these out tonight.
Metallica. Oh. Wow. Oh, you did Nemophilia and Love Bites in the same week? That's awesome.
Yeah, I usually will post Sunday on Patreon, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, I post the video on here on YouTube. And then whatever I posted on Sunday, previous Sunday, will end up on here eventually.
Black Sabbath? Nice. Oh, you did Beastie Boys too?
Oh yeah.
God damn. All right, I'm gonna stop.
The first few are strange. I'm like, someone gives me New Kids on the Block. I'm like, what?
I'm not gonna go any farther.
Okay, whatever.
Nah.
Listen, guys, I'm gonna dip off. All right.
Nah,
all right, same here.
Yeah.
All right, Jay. All right, Cal. All right, folks. We'll see you later.
You got it.
Thank
All right,
you.
everyone, have a good week. Be safe. Enjoy work.
You too.
Yeah. All right. See ya.
Nice meeting you, Jay.
You too.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Cal. And it's just me, folks. Jeez, here I am. And Dodger. He's over there snoring. Dodger, you awake, man? What's up? Well, there you go, folks. I finally managed to not shit show a somewhat partially half-assed version of a Andor Season 1 recap and breakdown. There you go. I think my second part one will be better in terms of my moderation and whatnot and everything, right? I did have a kind of a stressful day and a stressful weekend, so I won't lie to you. My son's down right now and whatnot and everything for a couple of weeks. I've been busy with him. My daughter moved back down to Florida from Ohio after moving up there for high school with mom. She's going to college in Ocala. So, like last weekend, me and Dad spent the weekend in Ocala, and then on Tuesday, we went to Tampa to the amphitheater, and we went to a concert to see Fall Out Boy. So, for me, I mean, that's a lot of action, right? I don't go out that much like that. But hey, you know what? It was fun. I had a good time. And, it's good to get out, right? I enjoy going on little trips and whatnot. I love my daughter and my son. And I love spending time with them, right? So, although I obviously have to make an effort, unlike last weekend, where I ended up having an embarrassing shit show, trying to do this show last Sunday, because it didn't occur to me that I should probably actually ask the hotel, like, hey, do you at least have like Wi-Fi that's somewhat viable to like where I could try to like live stream? I didn't even think to even ask. I guess I just sort of like naively just figured that like it'd be good enough, or I could use my hotspot, or worst case scenario, I'd use my cell phone or some shit. Well, good luck with that, man. Because not only was the Wi-Fi garbage, I guess it turns out Kyle from True Believers told me that that Orlando, sort of Ocala, central part of Florida is actually kind of a dead zone for cell phone service. And then my daughter and like my ex-wife's family members that are up there that she's like living with or near echoed that to me, that like, that cell phone service up there sucks. So I guess, I mean, I've called a couple of creators and whatnot and everything that do go out and do shows mobilely and whatnot for advice. And what they've told me basically to do is to look for hotels that have premium Wi-Fi that I can pay, right? Like preemptively and whatnot and everything and all that. So I can make sure that I have their premium, whatever, boosted Wi-Fi or whatever. We'll see what happens. But like I said, folks, hey, thank you very much. Thank you for supporting the MCU'S Bleeding Edge. Hey, shit, I'll see you all tomorrow night, right? Oppenheimer, spoiler-free review. The Marvels discussion, right? We're gonna talk a little about the Marvels. What else are we doing? We're going to the Daryl Dixon trailer came out. A real trailer, like a teaser trailer, I think, not like a full length 2.5 minute one. Like I think more of like a 1:30 one, like a teaser. But it dropped, right? So we'll probably watch that and talk about that. And then besides that, I think we're probably going to talk about some MCU. So again, take care. And we'll see you next time. And next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, if I'm on time, part 2, and there'll be a bigger panel, right? It'll be fun. We'll see you next time. Bye, folks. God bless you. We love you.